Well, good morning. Today we're going to unveil the tax plan, but I want you to know that today we're taking on the tax man again. We have over $1 billion of surplus. As we've said earlier, the two-year budget that we did last year fully funded government in Minnesota. The reserves are at an all-time high, and now it's time to give the rest back. And so we have over $1 billion of surplus. We're going to have a $1 billion tax plan. And with that, I'll let Senator Chamberlain focus on it. Two of the things that I'm glad that are in there that I've been underlining, one is fully exempting Social Security, and the second one is addressing Section 179. It's a place where agriculture and small business can take deductions at the same rate as they do at the federal level when they buy equipment. It can give them a jump start in what they're trying to do. And so with that, let Roger Chamberlain roll it out.
Well, good morning. So this is a theme we've been repeating for quite some time over the last few years. Our efforts have not changed. Our focus have not changed. The focus is on people of this state, all the people that file taxes, file tax returns, and work in this state. This is fundamentally about people. It's not just about numbers. It's about real people, real lives, and what they do with it. So allowing the people the freedom to create value and security in their own lives, for themselves, for their families, for their communities, their choices, their lives, and their dreams to create something for themselves. As Senator Gazelka alluded to, there's two core pieces to this bill, but if you go from the top, it's about seniors, it's about farmers, it's about mom and pop businesses, it's about Main Street business, it's about charities, it's about startup businesses, affordable housing, parents with school-aged children, and K-12, among other things. This will be our core package. It is good for everybody in the state. And the best thing of all is an income tax rate reduction at the lowest level from 5.35 to 4.9. That'll impact every citizen in this state. So if you live in this state, you will be positively impacted by what we're proposing in this bill. People come up here to the legislature, and almost all the time, what are they looking for? Money. We're going to give it to them. We're going to allow them to live their lives, empower them to do what they want, improve their communities, improve job growth, strengthen this economy, continue down the path we've been on for a few years. So with that, I'll shut up, and if you have any questions, comments, well, questions.
How much one time, how much ongoing?
We have a $1.3 billion surplus, and we'll work out the tails and the ongoing stuff later. But again, this is about relief for everybody. We have $1.3 billion, and as the logo shows, we're going to give the billion back, over $1 billion.
Sorry, is the premise more to just return the surplus or to create some
Long-term, it's
ongoing?
long-term relief for everybody in the state for them, and it'll eventually help the economy too.
Can you go into detail on the income tax cut and give the details again, and how many people do you think that would affect?
So the income tax, as you're aware, we got four rates in this state. The lowest rate is 5.35, which, by the way, is the highest lowest rate, if that makes sense, in the country, one of the highest lowest rates in the country, even higher than most rates in the country for states. So we would take that down. The proposal takes it down to 4.9% instead of 5.35. And if you file, if you file taxes in this state, you have a return. If you have income, you file taxes, you get a break.
How many people are in that lowest bracket? And what's the income cutoff?
Well, the number, I forget exactly the income cutoff, but for the 535. But if you're under 20K, you're probably not paying taxes. So this will hit you if you're paying taxes. If you're not paying taxes, it doesn't matter. But if you're paying taxes, it does. So, and most people in this state pay taxes.
Everyone pays the
Right.
rate.
Everybody goes through the lower rate, and everybody goes through the lower rate. So if you're paying taxes, low income to high income, you get relief.
So you're not going to tell us what the value of each of these is? I mean, the Social Security cut is probably $500 million.
Well, yeah, so as far as the value, the Social Security is about 400 and some million, 440, and roughly, now these numbers change, The income tax is, well, I'm sorry, that was the income tax rate. The income tax is about 440, and the social security is about 430. So 440 and 430, income tax rate and the social security, in that order.
Would those two potentially create a hole in the budget going forward? Those of us who've been
Nope.
around forever saw the Ventura big tax cuts.
Nope.
Dayton always argued, and folks argued that the one-time
Nope.
$6 billion shortfall was in part fueled
Nope.
because of too many tax cuts.
No.
No
The
way.
answer to that is no.
Why?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a permanent tax cut.
Why not?
Yeah.
We will balance this budget as we go forward. Numbers sing and dance all you want, but the bottom line is you reduce taxes, you drive a better economy. We've seen that nationwide, and we've seen the impact in the state of Minnesota with a stronger economy, higher wages across the board, lower unemployment. Minnesota usually is ahead of the curve a little bit because of our strong base in this state. We have a great agricultural base. We have a great corporate base. We have a lot of Fortune 500 companies. We're very blessed in this state to have that. That said, we're also very blessed that most jobs are small businesses. Most jobs are small businesses, so not the big corporate ones. So it's good for the economy. It will drive that, and we'll manage the tails. If anybody knows what a tail is.
We could just ask about the Social Security tax elimination. The governor's staff has suggested when this first came up that it was just very wealthy people who are paying taxes on Social Security. Do you have a cutoff estimate on income? And also, how many people are still paying taxes onto their Social Security?
We started to roll back Social Security tax in 2017, but this is about eliminating a tax that only 13 other states have. It's a confiscatory tax, it's a punishing tax. We've already paid tax on it once. So the goal is to reduce the burdens on all Minnesotans so they can stay here, work here, have a productive life here, create a life here, and raise a family and drive this economy. So we want to be fair. This tax plan impacts everybody in this state, every single person.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Esme, on Social Security, we looked at if there was a married couple that was retired and they made over $60,000, and that $60,000 would come from their pensions, that would come from Social Security, for any income that comes in, they start paying taxes on their Social Security income, almost every one of them. And so that's not $10 million of income, that's above 60,000 people start paying it. And so that's why we just think it should fully be exempted.
And are you, Senator, not going to pursue the Opportunity Scholarship tax credit this year, or is that a separate conversation?
No, it's not in the bill, it won't be in our proposal.
This year?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Why is that? We have other priorities right now. I mean, we're not giving up on kids and school choice and opportunity and self-determination, but it's another discussion. But our focus is on pure relief for people in this state. Now, we've said this before, and no offense to those, my friends, the lobbyists in the room, but the only folks up here that are not truly represented by a special interest are all those people, well, yourselves included, who pay the bills. They are not fully and adequately represented. We are going to fully and adequately represent the workers and the taxpayers and the people who pay the bills in the state of Minnesota. Whether you're on Social Security, whether you're sending your kids to school and you need a break for school supplies, you're a farmer, whoever you are in the state, doing something, we can reduce your burden, give you a pay raise, bonus, and then go from there.
If there is a downturn in the forecast next week, can you still afford these numbers?
The numbers sing and dance, we can make them work any way we want.
You're not concerned, though, about the forecast changing your numbers
No.
at this point? Okay.
Do you have additional details about the K-12 education tax credit? What
Yeah.
amount that would be and how many families?
So there's several proposals flying around out there. The one that we're focusing on is the one that's been around for, I think the 90s. It's been at the same amount, both the income threshold and the credit amount. So we want to increase that income threshold and increase the amount of credit that goes to the families. So more middle-class families can have access to that credit and also get more back.
Do you have the specifics on that, like what it is now and what it would be under your plan?
I don't have the dollar amounts in my head, but You know, we're dealing from a 30,000-foot level estimate, but certainly we do have those numbers. But I think the top credit was like $1,600 or $1,500. I mean, that's in the ballpark, but the income level was around 30,000, 35,000, something like that. So it was really low, it has not been adjusted, so a lot of people don't have access to that credit. And we want to give them access and increase the amount that they can so they can offset some of the K-12 costs.
Can you get us the income limit?
Yeah.
And how much?
Yeah.
Does this fall in the category of election year session statements? Have you gotten any indication from House Democrats or the governor that they even want to do a tax bill this year?
You set this up perfectly for me. We've been talking about this for years. Since I started in 11, we've been talking about it. Since we became the majority in 17, we've been talking about it and presenting it. Yeah, that was our vision in 17 and 18 and 19. We've been able to get something done in 17 and something done in 19, not enough. So, election year, this has been our vision, our statement, our position, our deal from day one. So, but as an aside, there's going to be people running around out there, hey, we did the 179 credit, we're doing this, we're good with that. This has been ours. These are our proposals. We have driven it. We have done it. It's been our vision. What was the second part? Election year stuff?
Do you even know?
Oh, the Democrats will hate it. They hate it. They'll hate it because we're actually empowering people. You know, we're empowering people with this. Their lives, their communities, their direction, their dreams. The Democrats will hate that. And if you don't want to give money back to farmers, seniors, to families with kids, you don't want to help small businesses and Main Street mom and pop stuff, you're not going to like this bill. That is our position. It's been that way for a long time. And the Democrats, I'm sure, will hate it. And then the ones they like say, oh, we like it. Well, welcome. I will not chase them away. We will say, welcome aboard. Let's help out the farmers, the educators, the parents, small businesses, entrepreneurs. So we'll say, yeah, come on board.
Let me address that, too.
Yeah.
So do I think there's going to be a tax bill in the end? Yes. It's our job to convince the House and the governor that some of our proposals are worth it for them to sign on to as well. We think the package we're putting together is important and beneficial to the state. We would control spending growth. That's, how we would take care of this going forward. But I do think there will be a tax bill in the end. And then I did want to address the opportunity scholarships because that was our #1 priority last year. It was one of our highest priorities with Governor Dayton prior. Both governors were passionately opposed to that. We felt like that was one of the ways that we could deal with some of the education disparities, particularly among kids of color. We thought this is something we should do. Both of them could not get to that spot. You'll have to ask them why, but so we're going to look at other ways that we can try to address that disparity gap. What are some reforms that are bipartisan in other places, other states? Can we try those? So this was one we tried and we think is still very, very important, but we just have no support from the governor.
Can you give us some sense as to, I know this is taxes, not spending, but the same pot of money. What expenditures, maybe one time, might pass muster in your caucus, say the disaster relief money or broadband rollout?
I think there'll be some things related to, I forget the exact rural ag financing. I always get it. Whatever that group is and disaster relief are two that we are talking about. But we're visiting among ourselves right now. What are the things that are one-time spending that would be something that we would have wanted to make sure got funded for some reason or another. We're not going to do any ongoing spending. That is where we've drawn the line, but certainly disaster relief is one that we've already considered.
Mr. Leader or Mr. Chairman, what do you do if the surplus is smaller than expected next week?
First, I'd like to say that's why he's the leader, because he's calm and he's very, he's got the nice tone. So thank you. If the surplus changes, we'll work it. I mean, numbers move and sing and dance, but we're confident that we'll be where we're at. Right now, our plan is the 1.3. My guess is we're going to be higher than that, but if we're lower, we'll make it work.
And does the rainy day fund get made whole under your plan, or if you can talk about that? Does it remain whole, I should say?
It depends on what the February forecast is and where we're going. Certainly that will be a major conversation piece going forward. The governor has said that he wants that completely whole. We're open to discussion on that. At this point, we want to drive forward with the tax relief bill that we think is important. I think you'll see much bigger spending programs from the other side, and in divided government in Minnesota, we just have to figure out how to come together at the end with a product that everybody feels good about.
So the rainy day fund would not necessarily have to be fully filled as far as your caucus is concerned? That's still.
We're still in conversation over that. We're divided on that. I think reserves are important to have in a good spot. Whenever you have a downturn, especially if you're in charge, you want to make sure that you can figure out how to make things work. But we are talking about it. I am aware that the governor has highlighted that as an important area, and so, yeah, stay tuned.
What about a supplemental budget? What's your attitude about that overall?
I hope that it's not omnibus prime again. So our goal, I've spoke to the speaker as well, is that we try to do more smaller bills. The other thing that we talked about, in addition to this tax plan, is that we try to do a bonding bill that we agree on the number ahead of time and let the process work. I think all of the legislators, whether you're Democrat or Republican, think that's a good idea.
How are you doing on earlier bonding deadlines?
Good. Stay tuned. Jab, jab. All right. I think that's
Senator
good.
Gazelka, just a little bit off topic here, but earlier today, Senator Chamberlain and Representative Lesh and Police Chief Axtell talked about their proposed constitutional amendment to remove the slavery clause. Do you support that? Would there be support in your caucus? Would it get a hearing in the
So
Senate?
I just heard about it as I stepped into the room over there. I'll have to see what they're proposing. Obviously, anything that might list slavery is, I think we are long past that. There may be other things that are out of date as well, but we'll just, certainly we'll take a look at it. I didn't know that we're looking at constitutional amendments. I didn't know that we would, but that would be one that we'll look at. Certainly the education one we want to have a conversation about. So I don't know that there's any others out there.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.